purposes only. I am not liable for what you interpret it. So last week we talked about influences of childhood that carry on to our adulthood, um, be it things we were um forbidden to do or stopped to do, or even just the nudge of not uh, exposed to. And then you find yourself when you're adult, you're drawn to such and such. If you didn't see it, it's in the bio page and you can watch it. Now, today is about culture. We've talked about culture in the past because we are a world of mixed cultural practices. Hi, Kin Kinte Junior, welcome. And today I was just pondering about some of the things that we are practicing today. Yeah, some cultures we bring forth to the today world, and there are some cultures some communities abolished, um, especially like I can give an example for Africans. Most of the communities practiced FGM. FGM is female genital mutilation, that's circumcision, because it was believed boys and girls after reaching a certain age before adulting, they had to go through that process, or different circumcisions in different communities differed. There are other communities preferred removing of the teeth. Some of them still practice it up today. And then there are others who did the FGM, most of them. And then some of them still practice it up to date, because you'll even find somebody uh, justifying it, saying it's giving, trying to say that's culture, you need to respect it. But to be honest, not all cultures were safe. Since it has been found out about FGM has caused a lot of deaths in females who underwent. And I have interacted with some female who did go through the FGM process, and it's still traumatic for them to talk about it up to date. And you'll find their notion of even um hi Raj, okay, hi Chris, thank you for joining us from Philippines. Okay, welcome. And in case of sharing about your cultures that not many people know about, you can kindly share. Yes, I am a singer, and I also talk about anything and everything. So hi Chris, I said hi. um so there is that aspect of FGM. Also found out that it helps, not it helps, it sometimes even causes what's called fistula during childbirth, which is a complication during childbirth. So it has had a lot of negative, and that's why most of the communities abolished it. And it was even abolished here in Kenya. It was abolished by the Kenyan government, but you'll still find some communities still practicing it um, in secret. And when they're found out, it's a child abuse case, and it carries a hefty fine and jail prison time. Um, that was not what I wanted. I talked about it last time. So other cultures we brought uh, still practicing in the present are the dowry marriages, traditional marriages, which is now celebrated because of the culture. It's enticing, I might say. And also musically, you'll find music videos when they sing about marital aspect. They showcase the process of dowries between different communities, and also the traditional attires that are worn. I'm not a big fan of kitenge. We call it the African wear that mostly comes from the western side of Africa, but to each their own. Um, then we have I schooling. Well, in Africa, most of the schools were started by missionaries, and well, it did help to communicate to like one language, let's say English, or like in East Africa we do Kiswahili. Okay, it's called in Philippines. Here it's summertime, super hot, super dry. Rajshai, you're from India, I'm from Kenya. So people, schooling was helpful in the fact that it helped us break the barriers of separating different communities, because for our parents who grew up in the 60s, 70s, we remember we gained our independence in 63 here in Kenya. So from 60s, 70s, and 80s, um, most of the people studied, they will grow up in the same location, study in the same location, get married in the same location, and grow old in the same location. But after independence, you'll find uh, people, the different types of education, helping them go to different colleges that catered for whatever career they had chosen, or their points. Back then it was points had chosen for them. If you passed, you'll go to A levels, and A level schools were specific regions. They were not in each and every place of Kenya. There were specific schools that had long been left by the colonials, like the major schools. And then we had now, when you finish the O level, which one was it? O levels, and then you go to A levels. Confusing. Then for us 90s babies, you'll find people had, because of the type of education our parents had, and in where they joined colleges, they met their significant others. That's where the intermarriages mostly started, and now we found ourselves in towns that was and is now referred as metropolitan, where different communities are living in the same space and harmoniously staying in the same place. So on that note, education did help with curbing the tribalic issue, except sometimes it gives its evil side during elections. And as I said, culture is a way of life, or is it what we practice? It depends with which culture you. Day-to-day life can be a culture, and then there's the practicing of old ways. Um, so for us, like, I'll speak on the field I am in, architecture and design and engineering. I remember we did history of architecture, and that's the point I wanted to talk about mostly, because for us, the history of architecture, it was super westernized. And it's sad when you want to learn about African architecture. Maybe you do archaeology. I might go back to school and do that, uh, because our history was written by the winners, those who colonized us mostly. Uh, and it was never, maybe never, or it has been lost in the translation, or uh, history books of. I know for sure we had architects in Africa, because we had empires and colonies in Africa that had superstructures that, up to date, no one can explain how and what technology they used to have such massive and intri- intellected designs, because they did work, and we didn't find out about them until maybe you watch archaeologists doing their discovery. And the only structures that mostly is talked about mostly is the pyramids in Egypt. Then there's also if you go down the rabbit hole, you'll find um, before Romans were in Egypt, there were other people who tried to invade. It's a lot. Uh, we have the Greek on the Alexandria port near Tunisia and that area, Mediterranean area. It's a lot, but if only schools also taught about African architecture, we know the traditional houses that we have been taught since we were kids. I don't know about the education system right now, if they're teaching this, uh, getting them to know where some cultures had their design. And it will have, even if we learned about it, will have um, inspired our designs of the structures that we are using right now, not the boxes that we see normally in towns. But hey, at least nowadays they are playing around with shapes, we have curves and all that. So for like here in Kenya, we have the Gedi ruins, which is in the coastal region, and it's basically a place that was housing the Arabs, before even the Arabs, the Portuguese. It was a trading. That's one place you can come Kenya and visit, which is the Gedi ruins in Malindi. And for Jesus is another scenario. If you don't like the historic part of sharing toilets, that toilets were in public and it was holes and you're using rugs. Ugh, ugh. Yeah, we've come far in the sanitary region. So yeah, that culture also is important, and we can never understand what people went through um, until you learn about it, because we can never be in their shoes to understand the issues they went through or the pain they went through. Yes, it was painful. For you might use it as a excuse to hate other people, but if that didn't happen, maybe you'll not have been where we are right now. It's sad that bloodshed happened and a lot of mistreatment happened and family separations. But we're forgetting one thing. Up to date, we're still hearing the issues about human trafficking. And the slave trade was even before it started long ago. Because I remember when we were studying, and I think when I went through the rabbit hole of culture, in my cultures, my two cultures that I know, Maasai and Kikuyu used to raid each other. So the Kikuyus will raid the Maasais of their livestock and women to marry. Yeah, it's barbaric sometimes, but anyway, that's how they used to live. They'll still take it to their place, feel they have victory, then the Maasais retaliate, do the same, steal their livestock and their women. So even you find that most of the cultures, marriages happened through war. Um, and Also when maybe in the Kikuyu tribe, they had people who were thieves within their community, or did uh, sin or against the community, something that was not allowed, they will be banished or they will be sent as the forerunners for the war or the rivalry they had. So Yeah, either they will be killed or taken as slaves. You can deduce from that. So yeah, that thing happened. And I remember, even when you go to the history of Western Africa, when people are taken away by the ships towards the Americans, um, you'll find even the chiefs that were in the community, the local original communities, were the ones who either select men to to go with the foreigners, or if there are people they have had cases over and over again, and they were like, we cannot deal with these people, they are the ones who give them out. So there were the raiding factor, and also the community just giving out their own people. It will have depended if it was giving them away as a punishment or as escorts, which is not used in a good light now, the name escorts. So yeah, if only history was given a chance to learn about all sides of history, and also those things that were stolen from Africa should be returned to their rightful owners, because that's part of their own history. Europe has its own history, so now I'm saying Europe as generally because most of them, like in Africa, we can hear of Germans colonizing some parts of African countries. Then we have Portuguese, Spanish, and French. So yeah, mostly European countries, and the Dutch, South Africa, Pacific. So if them they don't, we hear about the museums containing African artifacts. Return them to their rightful owners. Remain with your own artifacts. If you don't have any, put the bulletins of your writings and historical goings. Yeah. So in all countries, I know, even in China, we know of wars between the Mongolians, also the new foreigners, and the wars that changed. India, I have learned about the change from how British came, and also how um, the religion war between the Sikhs and the Muslims. So it's a lot of history. There's a lot of history that has either been hidden or forgotten. We need to remember about it, because culture might help you understand things that are happening right now, because some things are happening really, if you look at it, really look at it, somehow are similar to what used to happen, which is scary. We usually say history repeats itself. That's not good sometimes. Yeah, rather not it help, rather learn from it and not do the same things or worse things than happened. Yep. And that's all I had for you today. Thank you all for those who joined, for the new ones, and for my everyday, not every day, every Tuesday members who join me. Thank you for the comments, the greetings. Again, hi Kinte, welcome. Raja, hi. Chris, your side of the country is good morning. Here it's at night. It's around heading to 11 p.m. Chris, bug ties, hi. I think I've replied to all. Not I think, I know I've replied to all. See you next Tuesday. In case of any comments, you can comment down below or inbox me in case of any other topic you want me to cover. Until next Tuesday. Bye 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 bye.